If your feet tingle at night, if your toes feel numb during the day, or if you feel burning, stabbing, electric sensations that seem to come out of nowhere, then you need to pay very close attention to what I'm about to share, because this is not random and it is not something you should ignore, especially after the age of 60. When your body begins to change in ways most people never fully understand, your circulation slowly declines, your muscles lose strength, and the tiny nerves in your feet start to struggle silently without giving obvious warning signs at first, and what begins as a small tingling sensation or mild numbness can gradually turn into something much more serious like burning pain, sharp nerve signals, or even a complete loss of feeling. And the most concerning part is that many seniors unknowingly make this condition worse every single day without realizing it, not because they are careless but because no one ever explained what is actually happening inside their body, and once you understand the real cause behind these sensations, you will start to see why ignoring them is one of the biggest mistakes you can make if you want to protect your mobility, your balance, and your independence in the years ahead. Before we go any further, let me ask you something simple but important. Do you currently feel numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet or hands? And were you ever told that once nerve damage starts, it cannot be reversed? Because what you believe about your condition has a powerful effect on what you choose to do next. Many people accept this idea and stop trying completely, thinking nothing can change, but the truth is not that simple. While severe nerve damage may not always be fully reversible, the progression can often be slowed, supported, and in many cases improved when you take the right steps at the right time, and that is exactly what we are focusing on today. Not quick fixes, not temporary relief, and definitely not masking the problem with medication, but understanding how your body works and using simple natural movements to support your nerves while you still can, because the earlier you act, the more control you have over what happens next. Now here is something most people are never told. Your nerves are living tissue. Just like your muscles and organs, they depend completely on a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients to survive, and that supply comes from your blood. Every single nerve fiber in your body is supported by tiny blood vessels that deliver what it needs to function properly, and when that blood flow slows down, those nerves do not stay silent. They begin to struggle, weaken, and send out warning signals in the form of tingling, burning, or numbness, which means neuropathy is not just about damaged nerves, it is about starving nerves, and once you understand this simple truth, everything starts to make sense, because the goal is not just to reduce pain, the goal is to support the health of the nerve itself before the damage becomes too severe. After the age of 60, circulation to the lower legs naturally declines, and this happens for several reasons that most people overlook. Daily movement becomes less frequent, long periods of sitting become more common, and muscle contractions that normally help push blood through the body become weaker over time, and when this happens, blood begins to settle in the feet and lower legs. Gravity pulls it downward and it stays there longer than it should, creating pressure and reducing the amount of oxygen reaching your nerves. And this is exactly when symptoms begin to appear, first mild tingling, then burning sensations, and eventually numbness if the situation continues. And the longer this poor circulation continues, the harder it becomes for your nerves to recover, which is why waiting too long can make a simple problem much more difficult to manage later. This is also the reason why walking alone is often not enough. Many people believe that if they walk every day, their circulation is fine, but the truth is walking does not always activate the smaller muscles that play a critical role in moving blood through the lower legs and feet, and without those muscles working properly, blood can still pool in certain areas, leaving parts of your nerves undernourished even if you stay active. So while walking is definitely helpful, it is not a complete solution, and relying on it alone can give a false sense of security, which is why targeted movements that specifically improve circulation to the nerves are so important, because they address the exact problem instead of just providing general activity. Now let's move into the first movement, number 5, ankle pumps. And I know at first glance this may look too simple to be effective, but this is exactly why most people ignore it and miss out on one of the easiest ways to support their nerve health, because what this movement does inside your body is far more powerful than it appears. From the outside, you see, one of the biggest problems in neuropathy after 60 is not just nerve damage but poor circulation caused by blood pooling in the lower legs, and when your feet remain still for long periods, whether you are sitting, lying down, or even standing without much movement, gravity begins to pull blood downward and it starts to collect in your lower legs and feet, increasing pressure and reducing the flow of fresh oxygen-rich blood that your nerves desperately need to function properly, and over time this lack of circulation creates the exact environment where tingling, burning, and numbness begin to develop and worsen, which is why something as simple as ankle pumps can make such a meaningful difference when done correctly and consistently. Here is how ankle pumps actually work inside your body. When you pull your toes upward toward your body and then point them away, your calf muscles begin to contract and relax in a steady and controlled rhythm, and this rhythmic contraction acts like a natural pumping system that gently squeezes the deep veins in your lower legs, pushing blood upward back toward your heart instead of allowing it to stay wrapped in your feet. And as this circulation improves, oxygen and nutrients are once again delivered to the nerve tissue that has been under stress, helping those nerves function more efficiently and reducing the intensity of the signals they send. And this is exactly why such a small and simple movement is often included in circulation programs recommended by medical experts, because it directly targets one of the root causes of neuropathy rather than just treating the symptoms on the surface. To perform ankle pumps correctly, you do not need any special equipment or complicated setup. You simply need to sit comfortably in a chair or lie down with your legs extended, then slowly pull your toes up toward your shins as far as is comfortable without forcing the movement, hold briefly, and then point your toes away from your body in a smooth and controlled motion. And the key here is not speed but control, because fast and careless movements reduce effectiveness, while slow and steady movements allow your muscles and blood vessels to respond fully. Start with around 15 to 20 repetitions per foot and repeat this several times throughout the day, especially after long periods of sitting, because those are the moments when blood pooling is at its worst and your nerves need support the most. What makes ankle pumps truly effective is not intensity but consistency. Many people try a movement once or twice and expect immediate results, but the real benefit comes from repeating this simple action throughout the day, creating a continuous flow of blood instead of allowing it to stagnate in one place, and over time this steady circulation can help reduce the pressure in your lower legs, improve oxygen delivery to your nerves, and gradually decrease symptoms like tingling and burning. And while this may not feel dramatic at first, it is exactly this kind of consistent low-intensity support that your body responds to best, especially after the age of 60. When recovery processes naturally slow down. Now let's move to number 4, calf raises, and this is where things become even more powerful because your calf muscles play a critical role in circulation. In fact, they are often referred to as your body's second heart, because every time they contract, they push blood upward against gravity and help maintain healthy circulation throughout your lower body. And when these muscles become weak, which often happens with age and reduced activity, this pumping system begins to fail, allowing blood to pool in your lower legs and reducing the amount of oxygen that reaches your nerves, and this creates the perfect conditions for neuropathy to worsen over time, which is why strengthening your calf muscles is not just about mobility, it is about protecting your nerves at their source. To perform calf raises correctly, you don't need a gym or any special equipment. All you need is a stable surface like a chair or a wall for support. Stand with your feet about hip-width apart, keep your posture upright, and slowly rise up onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heels as high as is comfortable without straining. Hold that position briefly at the top, and then lower your heels back down slowly and with full control. And this lowering phase is actually just as important as the lifting because it increases muscle engagement and improves blood movement more effectively than quick repetitions. And while this movement may seem simple, what is happening inside your body is incredibly powerful. Every time your calf muscles contract, they squeeze the deep veins in your legs and push blood upward, helping restore circulation to areas where your nerves may have been deprived of oxygen. And when done consistently, this movement can gradually rebuild the strength of your natural circulation system, giving your nerves the support they need to function better over time. When you first start calf raises, it is important to begin slowly and listen to your body. Start with around 10 repetitions and allow yourself to rest between sets. And as your strength improves over time, you can gradually increase to 2 or 3 sets per session. But the key is not to rush the process, because after the age of 60, your body responds better to steady and controlled progress rather than sudden intensity. And what many people don't realize is that even small improvements in calf strength can lead to noticeable changes in circulation. And as circulation improves, the nerves begin to receive more oxygen and nutrients, which can help reduce the uncomfortable sensations associated with neuropathy. And this is why consistency matters far more than how many repetitions you can do in a single session. This exercise becomes even more important when you consider how aging affects your muscles, because after the age of 60, muscle mass naturally begins to decline, especially in the lower body, and at the same time, people tend to sit more often and move less throughout the day, and this combination weakens the very system your body relies on to keep blood flowing properly. And when that system weakens, circulation slows. And when circulation slows, your nerves begin to suffer, creating a chain reaction that leads to worsening symptoms, which is why rebuilding strength in your calf muscles is not just about improving mobility or balance, it is about restoring a critical function that directly supports the health of your nerves and helps prevent further decline. Now let's move to number 3. ankle rotations, and at first glance this movement may seem too gentle to make a difference, but it actually plays a very important supporting role in improving circulation to your nerves, because your ankle is a key junction point where multiple blood vessels pass through, and when this joint becomes stiff or inactive, blood flow through this area can slow down significantly, reducing the amount of oxygen that reaches your lower legs and feet, and over time this stiffness can contribute to the progression of neuropathy, which is why restoring mobility in this area is more important than most people realize. To perform ankle rotations, sit or lie comfortably with one leg extended, and slowly begin to rotate your foot in a circular motion, focusing on making the movement as smooth and controlled as possible. Move in one direction for about 10 to 15 rotations, then switch directions and repeat, and it is very important not to rush this movement because speed reduces its effectiveness. Slow rotations allow your muscles, joints, and blood vessels to respond fully, creating a gentle pumping effect that helps keep blood moving instead of settling in one place, and when done regularly throughout the day, this simple movement can help maintain flexibility, improve circulation, and support your nerves in a way that complements the other exercises you are doing. What makes ankle rotations especially valuable is that they target something many people completely overlook: joint stiffness, because as the ankle becomes less mobile, it quietly restricts the flow of blood through one of the most important pathways in your lower leg, and this restriction does not always cause immediate pain, which is why it often goes unnoticed, but over time it contributes to reduced circulation and increased stress on your nerves, and when you combine this with long periods of sitting and reduced daily movement, the effect becomes even more significant, which is why taking just a few minutes throughout the day to keep your ankles moving can make a real difference in how your legs and feet feel, especially when combined with the other exercises you are learning. Now we are moving into the top two exercises, and this next one is so important that many specialists consider it nearly as critical as the number one movement, and yet it is something most people never think to do. Number 2, toe curls, and while this may sound simple, it directly targets one of the most important areas for nerve health: your feet, because your feet contain more nerve endings per square inch than almost any other part of your body, and when these nerves are not being stimulated properly, they begin to weaken and lose function over time, which is why activating the small muscles in your feet can have such a powerful impact on circulation and nerve support. To perform toe curls, sit comfortably in a chair with your feet flat on the floor, ideally barefoot or wearing thin socks so you can fully engage the muscles. Then slowly curl your toes downward as if you are trying to grab the floor with them. Hold this position for about 5 seconds while focusing on squeezing those small muscles in your feet, and then relax completely. And while this movement may feel unusual at first, especially if those muscles have not been used much in recent years, that is exactly why it is so effective, because you are activating muscles that have likely been dormant for a long time, and when these muscles begin to work again, they help push blood through the tiny vessels in your feet, improving circulation right where your nerves need it the most. What makes toe curls even more powerful is the way they create what experts call a pumping or milking action inside your feet. As the muscles contract, they compress the small blood vessels and push stagnant blood out, and when they relax, fresh oxygen-rich blood flows back in, and this constant exchange helps nourish the nerve tissue and reduce the buildup of waste that can contribute to irritation and discomfort. And over time, this process can help decrease symptoms like burning and tingling, while also improving your ability to feel textures and maintain balance. And this is something many people notice only after they begin doing the exercise consistently for a few weeks. Another important benefit of toe curls is that they help retrain your proprioceptors, the specialized nerve endings in your feet that tell your brain where your body is in space, and when these signals become weak or unreliable, your balance begins to suffer, increasing the risk of falls. But by regularly activating the muscles and nerves in your feet, you can help restore this connection and improve your stability. And this is why toe curls are not just about reducing discomfort, they are also about protecting your independence and confidence when you walk. And while this exercise is incredibly effective, it is still not the most powerful movement on this list, because the number one exercise does something even more complete and targeted for nerve health. Now we come to the number one exercise, the one that many specialists consider non-negotiable for anyone dealing with neuropathy after 60, and it is called the toe spread and squeeze. And while it may sound simple, the science behind it is what makes it so powerful, because this single movement activates up to 20 different small muscles inside your feet at the same time, muscles that most people never use in their daily life, and when these muscles contract together, they create the strongest possible pumping effect in the exact area where nerve damage is most likely to occur, and this is what makes this exercise different from everything else it does. Not just improve general circulation, it directly targets the location where your nerves need the most support, helping to deliver oxygen and nutrients more effectively than almost any other movement. To perform the toe spread and squeeze correctly, sit comfortably in a chair with your feet flat on the floor, preferably barefoot so you can fully engage the muscles. Start with one foot and keep your heel planted firmly on the ground, then spread your toes apart as wide as you possibly can, focusing on creating space between each toe, and you may notice that this is difficult at first, which is completely normal because these muscles are often weak or inactive. Hold this spread position for about 5 seconds, then slowly bring your toes together and curl them downward as if you are trying to grip the floor. Hold again for 5 seconds, and then relax, and this combination of spreading and squeezing activates a complete pattern of muscle engagement that improves circulation and nerve stimulation in a way no single movement can achieve on its own. When you first begin this exercise, you may feel cramping or fatigue in your feet, and while this can be uncomfortable, it is actually a positive sign that muscles which have not been used for a long time are starting to activate again, and as you continue practicing consistently, these sensations will decrease and be replaced by improved control, better circulation, and reduced nerve discomfort, and many people who stick with this routine begin to notice changes within a few weeks, such as less burning at night, reduced tingling, and even a gradual return of sensation in areas that once felt numb, and these improvements are not random, they are the result of giving your nerves the support they need to function more effectively. For even better results, you can combine this movement with ankle pumps immediately afterward, creating a powerful sequence that enhances blood flow throughout your entire lower leg and into your feet, because while the toe spread and squeeze activates the small muscles where nerve damage occurs, ankle pumps help push that newly oxygenated blood upward and keep it circulating, and together these movements create a complete system that supports both local and overall circulation, and when practiced consistently over several weeks, many people begin to experience noticeable improvements not only in how their feet feel but also in their balance, stability, and overall confidence when walking, which is something that becomes increasingly important as we age. So here is what you need to remember. Neuropathy is not just something that happens overnight, and it is not something that will improve on its own if nothing changes, but it is also not something you are completely powerless against, because by understanding what your nerves need and taking simple, consistent action, you can support your body in a way that makes a real difference over time. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these exercises are you going to start today, and what has been the most frustrating part of your experience? Is it the pain, the numbness, or the fear that it might get worse? Share your thoughts in the comments because you are not alone in this. And before you go, make sure you watch the next video on your screen where we reveal one common mistake that many seniors make every single day that silently worsens circulation, because the more you understand, the more control you have, and remember, it is never too late to take a step toward better health, stronger circulation, and a more confident life.